The truth is, I hated you.
If that's true, then why do you look so sad?
Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then why am I looking for her?
This town, there's something wrong with it? I'm not sure what I might do.
It's all the same once you dig! And a corpse can't laugh!
I know what you are. I don't need you anymore. Could Mary really be here? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
Silent Hill 2 is a game that needs no introduction, unless you're me. Someone who's never actually learned of the game's story despite the initial game being nearly 24 years old. So with a remake created not too long ago and me needing a fresh video, I decided why not experience everything Silent Hill 2 has to offer. But I wanted to take this in a more unique approach and see if Silent Hill 2 is the greatest horror story. The remake at the very least. This is definitely the longest game I've played for the channel so far, and this is not going to be an easy video to make, so if you have a soul, make sure to subscribe and help me get to 1,000 subscribers before the world ends and the few survivors left live in the apocalypse. Now let's dive right into the Silent Hill 2 remake, and also go into the rules for this video as well. This game's not scary at all. The game begins with our protagonist, James Sunderland, cleaning his shaking hands, anxiety-ridden, before taking one last look at himself in the mirror. What a handsome man. This is the only comparison I'll do for the entire video, but the scene in the game is a million times better compared to the initial trailer showcase. With that done, we get our small but perfect little intro to dive us into the game, with both James and Mary narrating to us, to add mystery, and more importantly, have us enter Silent Hill.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill.
In my restless dreams, I see 1,000 view video.
Could Mary really be here? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
Once the cutscene ends, we have full control over James now. The remake gives us an over-the-shoulder perspective, with gameplay similar to the Resident Evil remakes, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. With a map from our car, all that's left to do is to walk. While we walk, we'll go over a few more things. Our simple definition for a horror story is any story with intent to cause distress or fear into the audience, aka us. As for the way it goes about creating this distress, there's no rule of how the story must play out, but there are elements that can elevate them, and the most important ones for this video today are themes, purpose, and how frightening it is. A story without a theme is like a car with no tires. It can move forward, but it isn't going to be doing a good job at it. A story with a purpose helps bring a connection to the audience. Because without a purpose to create said story, there lacks a lasting impression, and more importantly, relatability. It's no secret that most media that people love, they relate to in some way or form. And so an example of relatability within a horror story can make people in the audience understand how frightening certain aspects can be. Lastly, how scary it can be is a fairly simple approach. The closer you are to crapping yourself, the more the story sticks with you. After all, if it isn't scary, it isn't horror. Lastly, off topic, but this game is very eye-catching with gorgeous graphics, which unfortunately on my budget PC didn't mix well together in the beginning, but that'll leave eventually. I typically only play indie games, so it isn't often I get to enjoy something with a much higher level of production to it. With that out of the way, let's briefly touch on the saving system. By finding a glowing red square, we can save our game while staring directly at James. Afterwards, he'll say this piece of dialogue.
It's like someone's groping around my skull.
Now this will be the first of 2 times where I'll mention the save screen and the red square in general. There's plenty of theories of what this is or what it represents to James, with some even going as far as saying it's a connection from the game to real life. But generally, an accepted answer is that it's a deep look into his psyche/mind. That's about all the detail I can really give on my own, at least until much, much later. All that walking led us to a cemetery where we meet Angela Orozco, a woman looking for her mother. It's here where we can see how awkward the two are, which works pretty well, all things considered.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
She points us to the right direction of the town but warns us to stay away, that besides the fog, something is wrong with Silent Hill. But Mary's waiting for us, and we won't keep her waiting. Biggest mistake in the game so far is pretty relevant soon, because as you can see right here, they used the wrong font for the Silent Hill Ranch. Terrible game. Besides teaching us some basic game mechanics, there's not much to mention here, besides this in particular. These are reminiscent spots. They make no sense to people like me who only played the remake, but are essentially small Easter egg locations to acknowledge changes from the original game that are gone. It's quite the long walk to Silent Hill, which is an appetizer to the giant map that there is for the entire town we'll be navigating. It's present since the moment we control James, the kind of atmosphere the game has planned, and it's elevated massively once we get to the abandoned and aged town. Every building is empty, rotting, or completely locked away to us. Though as abandoned as this town may be, we're not alone here. Oh. That must be a person, right? Not sure why James is still chasing this thing because it is so very clearly not human, but we gotta move forward somehow. Now what is this? A radio. Well, what's that in the background, James? What's that in the background, James? What is that in the background, James? What is that in the background, James? Here's a simple introduction to combat and rules to live by for each new weapon we'll be getting. The rule for melee combat in this game is play safe. This spitter enemy is the weakest in the entire game, but still takes plenty of hits until it goes down. From this point on, nothing is guaranteed to be safe. So proceeding with caution and ultimately avoiding combat is another strategy to take into account. To heal from damage in the game, you can use 2 items, a cool bottle of Gatorade and a heroin needle you picked up near Hobo. Unknowingly, I didn't realize the syringe heals you to full, so my first one was completely wasted and the Powerade only works well for small injuries. So you'll notice for a good portion of the gameplay, at least in the beginning, I was fucking dying bad. Leaving the house, we can hear Mary on the radio. Hard to hear in jumbled words, but she's there and proof we have to keep moving on to find her. The radio generates noise the closer any monster is to us, and only goes quiet once we've gone far enough away from one or kill it. The spitters all around the map have a very unique and disgusting design to them, but later on it only gets worse. Following the mark on our map to the Nelly bar, the main puzzle stopping us from progressing is to fix and get the jukebox activated. There are notes scattered around the town and nearly all of them are mandatory to figure out puzzles or where to go next. So the next time you look around, you better read. Going around town and following the clues and getting into unnecessary fights, we repair the disc and shove our arm down a glory hole to pick up a button, and because James forgot his wallet, he has to rob a coffee shop for their last coin. There's a short story, so to speak, of a janitor who is obsessed with this vinyl record, but considering the length of the game and how much we need to go over, I don't think it's too important to mention. Same applies to all the mini puzzles for progression. Only the big ones or the ones which are hard as fuck will have a place in this video. Completing everything, the music disc plays a nostalgic tune to James, remembering Mary and their special place all the way over to the park near the lake.
Mary.
It breaks pretty damn quickly and the jukebox spits out a fucking key for the back door of the bar. Abre la puerta. Logic will be thrown out the window in this game, don't worry. Taking the back exit of the bar gives us access to a part of the town we had no way of accessing yet. It's empty and the fog adds a lot to the tension of the calm before the storm. Like at any second, something can just happen. Like right now. Oh, that's not me. The fog is stronger than ever. You can't see 5 feet in front of you. The monsters are more present than ever, blocking your every path, and I made the poor and egotistical choice of not backing down against the ambush. Your ass is mine, your ass is grass, bitch. The item we got is for the Woodside apartment building, and it's not close enough, so we just have to run and run, evading monsters in the thick fog, blinding my path, until finally we get a short moment of peace inside the building. Dear God. What's over here? And my game crashed. Good thing there's autosave, am I right? Anyways, so with no health left to spare, a brand new area to explore, and an even more confusing main puzzle to solve, we'll be here for a while. On the bright side, picking up pistol rounds gives a nice tease for a brand new weapon coming very soon. Most of the building is locked away, forcing us to explore wherever we can to salvage any way to get progress done. One bright room in particular is where we get a key item for our journey, a flashlight. Watch out when you get it because you are fucked if you notice too late. What in the absolute... This new enemy type is a pain in my goddamn ass. Here's my tip for dealing with it. Never fight in close quarters, because they can both dodge and counter your swings and deal heavy damage. And so me being at death's door, I died more than I care to admit here. Fuck you! Jesus! Besides a key, clothing matching someone we may or may not know, and a flashlight, I think it's fair to say that it was inevitable fight with that thing. Thing isn't a good name to work with, so let's use the official term for it, which is... mannequin. So the spiders are a unique enemy in the game. Besides having more health than the spiders from before, they are ruthlessly more aggressive and stronger and just as present throughout the game. Another fuck-ass detail and common thing they'll do is run away from you to hide and pose as just a regular mannequin until you get close enough to it and it rubs your face off with its toes. When it does this, the radio doesn't even pick them up, so it is a guaranteed ambush unless you're looking right at them. Piece of fucking... My tip for any encounter with it is to never get close. Ever. They deserve nothing less than a few pot shots to the gut for how much they fucked me over. Soon enough, we find a key on the opposite side of a gate. And then we meet someone I don't like.
Wait!
You fucking bitch, I'll kick the shit out of you. Running to the opposite side and getting the key to the second floor, we finally get ourselves a gun. Oh yeah, baby. Progressing through the apartments is a very simple task, kind of. It's pretty much a damn maze to navigate the area because a hallway is never stable enough to walk through, and so we'll usually use the apartments to go outside to walk around the other end. Which brings me to my next point of interest. This room. That's not supposed to happen. After getting trapped, we have to just fucking figure it out. And that's putting it crudely, but wholeheartedly, this entire room is covered in a whole crock of crap, and your only hint is this writing on the wall, and the safe to crack open for the key. Even if we ignore why the fuck this exists here, or who this trapped room was designed for, I didn't even figure this one out. I just brute forced my way through after finding the first number right, and the second one by accident. I'm just a pro gamer who thinks outside the box is all. I was in this room for nearly 20 fucking minutes. This lets us access more of the apartment, and in a room not too far away is an audible sound of someone. What's over here?
Hey, who's there?
It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, I swear.
Say hello to Eddie, everybody. This first encounter with him says a lot about his character, immediately jumping to the conclusion we're accusing him of killing the dead body in the kitchen, and his timid attitude. Once calmed down, we decline joining him in leaving the town, but as fucked up as things are, we choose to stay. If it wasn't already obvious, don't forget about him. The third floor of the hotel is a complete death gauntlet of hell and misery. Not much to add on to here, besides using some juice to unclog the trash chute for a coin, because James is very greedy. In reality, the coins are the key to unlocking the main puzzle of the Woodside apartments. It didn't click for me that I had all 3 of the coins because I had assumed I needed 5 and wasted an entire half hour doing fuck all because I did not know what to do. Moving on, the puzzle is very, very difficult to understand if you're anything like me, aka dumber than a monkey. The game is full of cryptic poem puzzles, and it's up to you to figure out what's the right combination of coins and which side is to be shown. While I could go over each poem and what it means, the positioning and blah blah blah, I'll just simplify that these coins are detailing a tragic story and is probably the single most important puzzle in the game, because for the last act of the puzzle, there's a choice to be made. You can choose who to blame in this story. The man who is too slow to react, the woman who is unaware of her surroundings, or the snake for killing her. The reason this is so important is because this single decision helps determine what kind of ending you get. So I made a save here just in case. And so, like an evil sack of shit I am, I chose to blame the man, revealing a key to the one room we have yet to access in these apartments. By comparison, this room is a lot cleaner than everything else we've seen inside the building so far. The fuck was that noise? But looks can be deceiving, unfortunately. This room is occupied, and we're not welcome here. Oh. What the fuck is this? Why are you lacking a reaction? Oh fuck. Oh fuck, it's him? This closet isn't gonna do much, but what else can you do when you're stuck in a room with something this fucking terrifying? His body twists and contorts before he walks closer to us, knowing damn well where we are. And terrified and left with no other options, James shoots at it despite how pathetic the attempt seems. After contorting and grabbing its head like it's trying to rip it off, it walks away before grabbing the corpse with it. I do not want an encounter with this motherfucker right now. That is too much for my little poor heart. Back in the room, the item we interacted with before he came along was a handkerchief. Mary's, we can assume, and with no other options, we follow behind where Pyramid Head went, crossing a gap to enter a place that is familiar, but at the same time, not at all. This is where similarities end, and upon grabbing a new map, we can see the layout is completely different from before. Some enemies are different too. The spitter, which used to be just a joke to deal with, is now far more aggressive, spits more, and when dying, blows up, covering the area around it with acid. Fuck! There are way more enemies now that we have a way to defend ourselves, and especially because we're in a place that shouldn't exist. After finding a safe room to save at, our next main puzzle to complete is to gather the pieces of this grandfather clock, and we get a nice good look of what the Woodside apartments look like in this place known as the Otherworld. The game never outright says the name of this different reality, but inside notes further down the line, we can learn of its name, and if things seemed weird or unrealistic before, it only gets much worse from here. Besides the initial main clock puzzle and a lot of fighting, there isn't too much to mention about the area. The only important thing to mention is the devastating frame drops I had when the enemies were ambushing me.
You smelly piece of shit, back the fuck up!
And how many times I died over and over and over and over and over and over. Oh boy, I can't wait to do everything again for the third time! The only real notable thing to mention about the area is how different the puzzles can change in this abstract world. Puzzles that couldn't work at all in a real world, but in this fucked up place, anything can happen. Though surprisingly, despite how weird and messed up this other world is, we aren't alone because soon enough we get to meet Angela again. You? What the fuck are you doing in here? Staring at a mirror, knife in hand, James can tell pretty quickly she's likely going to attempt suicide. Her personality is a bit more extreme this time, especially when James mentions something pretty mundane about her mother. She completely flips out.
Sorry.
When we think she's calm, she regresses, acting worse than before, and then runs off. The final and my personal favorite puzzle in the entire area is this moth room. Inside are hundreds of moths roaming around inside, with large ones with patterns on them to differentiate them from the rest, and we have to count them all up to figure out the code for the lock. This is the puzzle I love because it's simple but still takes a bit of thinking to understand, even if it does end in just a basic math problem to solve. I enjoyed it a lot. Something you could learn a thing or two about, huh? After yet another glory hole, we get the second hand to finish up the grandfather clock puzzle. And the second hand opened up the last room in this other world for the time being, but it's far from an easy exit. Oh dear God, please. Oh, I'm stuck in here with them. Okay, alright. Fuck you game, fuck you game, fuck you game, fuck you game! Stuck in a room with the unkillable Pyramid Head, and all you have is your weak pistol that barely leaves a dent in it. Each swing he does destroys the objects all around you, giving you less and less cover. Each hit from him will nearly kill you, and he is relentless in how hard he chases. Once you deal enough damage to him and enough time passes by, he doesn't die. He just turns around and breaks open the door, blocking us from leaving. And once we follow behind, we're right back in a normal world. If you could call this normal, at least. Keep in mind, all of this was just from one single building. All of the puzzles and hard-fought battles we had were all just from inside this single apartment building. We have a lot left in this game. Not long after leaving the apartments, we see a little girl sitting on a wall. The same piece of crap who kicked the key away from us earlier. She's a real brat with how she talks to us, but before she leaves, she says something that doesn't make sense.
You didn't love Mary anyway.
What? Hey, wait!
How does this girl know anything about Mary or us? The lake is nearby. The special place James recalled back at the bar is nearby. And James starts wondering if she really could be here all these years later.
Mary, could you really be here?
At the edge of the lake is a woman, but she's not Mary. Instead, she's Maria.
I don't look like a ghost, do I?
She's a little weird from the get-go, ignoring the fact that she's a spitting image of Mary. Her behavior is extremely flirty. She's too relaxed, constantly trying to be in his sight, and she's pretty handsy with James too.
Something else to do.
When she says she knows where a special place might be, she insists on joining us, and when James wants to go alone, she flips the act, leveraging her vulnerability to get closer to James. So reluctantly, James agrees to follow her to wherever this special place she's talking about is at. This is the first time we have someone with us while we roam around the town. In a way, it makes things feel a little less tense because we're not alone now, but something about Maria is still weird. When we reach a motel, she's consistently sexual with us, completely out of place with where we are and what we're doing. The puzzle in this area I will mention solely for the fact that it pissed me off. A note upstairs makes it clear that to open a safe in the manager room, we have to multiply the total of rooms with the total of rooms upstairs times 33 and then add 5. So it becomes 8 times 2 for 16, 16 times 33, which becomes 528, and add 5 for 533. When you put that combination in, however, you'll realize it won't work because the safe needs a 4-digit code to open. So then now I thought, well shit, maybe I have to add the numbers from each room instead, but that doesn't make sense. The note gave us pretty explicit instructions on how the problem could be solved, and addition was only mentioned for the 5. So I was stuck thinking about what could possibly be wrong with the answer 533.
Dude, you're gonna be so mad. You have it right.
What do you mean?
Remember how I said just put a 0 at the end?
You're kidding me.
Put a 0 in the beginning.
You're telling me it's... Yeah, just add a 0 before the 533. A simple solution, but one I never would have thought of. 15 minutes wasted, by the way. Maria gets attacked by a spider instantly, so we save her. Not like it's a choice, it's if you don't save her, she will die and you have to restart. Outside we can see that the road is completely destroyed, blocking our path further. And when trying to detour, we're not going to be able to move very easily.
James?
We are completely surrounded by enemies everywhere we go, from spitters in our path to the spiders who hide in the corners to ambush us. The best course of action would be to run past most of them, but I'm a little glutton for punishment and unnecessarily got myself into constant fights with them, all until we escaped. This brings us to the outside of a building with a locked door. Maria has the key luckily, but inside she's quick to leave us behind, and it becomes clear as day this building is a strip club. Maria is once again trying to get cozy with James, acting seductively, and when James quickly shuts her down like a normal person, she gives the tear-jerking act again, and James falls for it yet again. When we're out of there, we can see the other side of the destroyed road. A long fucking detour, huh? The special place Maria brings us to is another park. Maria says she's just around the corner, only to show us a statue of a woman and tells us her fairy tale, but James could really care less about it. As James doubts his journey so far, Maria immediately starts to initiate physical contact with us. But then we hear a noise.
We can still...
The scream leads us to a movie theater and we go in alone while Maria waits outside. Inside, Eddie's watching a movie with the little girl who messed with us earlier. They're getting along a bit, but she's still a massive jackass to everyone. When we try to get inside, she runs off and it's just us and Eddie.
Eddie?
The weird thing is that Eddie's a lot different here than when we first met him. He barely even recognizes us, as if it's been a long time since we last saw each other.
James. We met back at the apartment building.
Yeah, I remember.
He's eating a tub of ice cream, and when James makes a pretty small comment about his appetite, he looks visibly annoyed. And we find out the little girl's name is Laura. James invites Eddie to join us, but his response is bitter. Extremely bitter. Like he's angry at us for even asking. We go after Laura because how and why is a little girl in this dangerous town? But she's running away from us all the way out of the theater, where we meet back up with Maria.
Maria?
The chase with her leads us to a pretty damn important part of the game, the Brookhaven Hospital, and thankfully inside we get a nice small tease of a brand new weapon to come soon. In the stairwell she's drawing before running away yet again. This is getting frustrating. The drawing left behind is a wolf staring at a rabbit, and now all that's left is to figure out how to unlock the rest of the hospital to get this annoying brat. Straight from the beginning, the first puzzle to get the first key is tough as fuck if you don't understand what to do. In which case, you're like me, it isn't gonna be easy at all. This here is the note that helps you find out what the code is. This doesn't make any sense. So I was confused, rattled, and defeated because I had to Google the damn answer. And the answer is, something, I guess? It comes from all the photos that are in the lobby that I didn't really pay much mind. One is of 2 doctors who founded the hospital, the second is a photo of 7 nurses, and the last is a photo of the hospital itself with 4 trees out front. With all 3 photos in mind now, the note to unlock the key makes slightly more sense, but I never would have figured it out wholeheartedly. The key takes us to the basement where we turn on a generator to use the elevator to reach the second floor Laura locked us out of, and it's no longer daytime. It's dark and raining outside, and Maria isn't doing so well. Due to her condition, we're going to be treading alone for a while, but before we do, she asks us one last question: if we can't find Maria.
Can't find Mary.
I haven't really thought about that.
Get back soon, okay?
Oh, when I come back, you're gone. In this hospital, there are a wide number of tasks to complete, but with it brings a new threat. Sexy nurse! This new enemy is by far the strongest of the bunch. It attacks with slow but constant swings, and will even parry your swings when you attack it. Here's my tip for dealing with them, and it's quite the simple solution. Shotgun. The shotgun is found pretty shortly after the second floor is interacted with, and it's our easy solution to handling these durable, sexy bastards. The shotgun is powerful as it should be, but when fired at an extra close distance, it'll drop any enemy. While they're down, use your handy pipe to give them a fresh coat of paint so good it's to die for. The hospital is also quite the long section in the game, with puzzles aplenty and 4 total floors you're going to be around. So let's just speedrun past the important stuff. We fall down inside the walls of the hospital, crawl out, pick up a crazy ass bracelet, reach the 3rd floor where Laura skedaddles, die again, come back the next day because the Windows watermark will come back soon, die again, combine flasks with some gum to pick up the maintenance key, go to the pool and drain instead of the basement maintenance room like you thought the key would be used for, pick up an ugly x-ray and douse that bitch in bleach, use it to get a code because it makes sense I guess, grab a nasty bracelet, actually drain the pool and get a bloody bracelet, look up a guide on how to use the bracelets, grab key, make a sick ass line out of books, enter moon runes in a numbered format from the sick ass line, and get the key to the roof. Simple stuff, right? The roof only gives a straightforward path. There's some ammo, but not much else. It leads to a room where there's a note, just a diary entry of someone who hates the rain and their immobile state. There's nothing else in here though, so turning back is all we can really do. What the fuck are you doing out here? No, I'm gonna fall. Thankfully, falling 20 feet through the building only gives James a small headache and we finally find Laura. She really pisses me off with how she behaves, but long story short, after giving us this shit-eating grin, tells us that a letter from Mary is hidden behind a pipe in the most evil-looking door ever and locks us out.
Laura?
Mocking us the entire time.
Huh? Do ya?
Too bad this bitch didn't realize she trapped us in here with something else.
Laura!
Oh, good God. What the fuck? A metal caged person with a mouth between their legs is our boss here, attacking from the roof, breaking parts of it with each slam down. The strategy is to either lure it to strike down and shoot, or while it's swinging above into areas it broke, you can shoot at its mouth. As the fight goes on, it grows sharp claws to slash us with until eventually it's done hiding on the roof and attacks us head on, breaking into the other room. The fight is long, hard, and pretty damn terrifying, but eventually it's gone. But so is all our ammo. Down? You done yet? I shot you full of lead, you should be dead. On a closer look, it's even more disgusting. Too bad we only beat one of them. Ah, what the fuck? In a cutscene where we can only see the roof of the hospital, much like the note, we can hear Mary calling out to us 3 times for 3 different roofs.
James. James.
Until we wake back up in the Otherworld. This time, the hospital. Now, unfortunately, there's no footage of me playing this portion of the game. I can explain. You see, Silent Hill 2 was originally released on the PlayStation 2 in 2001 and saw massive success, especially in North America. But did you know? The narrative of Silent Hill 2 was inspired by 1866 Russian novel Crime and Punishment by however you pronounce this. The only footage I've got is the end of the Otherworld section in the hospital. But the only important part you need to know is that we reunited with Maria.
Mary! Oh. Maria, I thought... Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway!
And someone else really wants to reunite with us too.
Run!
Pyramid Head is chasing us in the basement and cheats by breaking through the walls too while he's after us. But unfortunately, we move pretty damn slow, so this chase feels pretty lackluster. What's not lackluster, however, is how it ends. James is in the elevator trying to hold it open for Maria, who tripped, and they try their hardest, but it just wasn't enough. James' reaction is one that I find pretty interesting. This woman isn't Mary, but she looks and sounds just like her. And we knew her for just a few short hours, so her dying won't tear him apart. But to see someone who looks just like a lost lover die right in front of you, I can't blame him for feeling conflicted on his emotions. Not crying, but he's certainly not okay with it either. All that's left is a short walk. Alone. We're back to the entrance of the hospital, and outside we can see that piece of crap Laura running off again. Partially responsible for Maria dying, mind you. We still haven't left the Otherworld yet, so the town is even more messed up than before, but also far more dangerous too. There's no major puzzle or any hard to find key once we're out here. It's fairly linear, but we're just constantly chased, ambushed, and attacked by all sorts of monsters who are just eager to get to us. My best tip for this section and any other section is to always finish off enemies with the swing of your pipe. The mannequins only need 3 body shots before they go down in 2 hits. And the nurse should always be hit with the shotgun, but without it, use 4 to 5 shots to the head before handling anything close range. It doesn't matter where you are though. You're constantly surrounded by monsters. You can run or fight, but some places just won't let you go unless you fight back. Soon enough, we find a ringing telephone, but after we pick it up, it's just dead silence on the other end. After hanging up, a note comes out. A mysterious one about a key, but hey, it's all we got to work with. So taking a wrench next to the phone, we follow where the streetlights take us to a large tunnel. Inside the tunnel is something new. What the actual fuck? Hanging under the metal grated floor beneath us are hanging giant monsters whose scream can lock us in place for a few seconds while it gets ready to stab us with its long, sharp tongue. There's more than just one here, and trying to shoot at it would just be a waste of ammo, so running is the only right choice to make. Finally, we reach the garden, and we're not alone either. It's Angela again. The conversation with her this time is pretty defeated, if I had to say. She's convinced her mother doesn't want to see her and is upset with the state of the town. All the while, James is trying to comfort her, even asking if she still does want to join together to leave the town. But she still refuses, until she starts acting crazy, or rather, she's seeing something we can't, before she runs away in fear.
No, don't touch me!
Each time we meet a character after enough time has passed, they seem to be more aggressive versions of their usual personality. The first time we met Angela, she was timid but still spoke up about how we should have avoided the Silent Hill. The next time we see her, she's contemplating suicide before her trauma makes her act up and run away, and now she's just empty this time when we met her. Not visibly sad or afraid like last time, just emotionless and weak. At the statue, we dig up a box containing a note and a key. The note was made just for us, however, like a final warning before we enter somewhere we can never come back from. And the key is the door to unlock the Historical Society building, our next stop. I can assume after we met Angela, we left the Otherworld. More specifically, exiting the tunnel brought us back to the foggy Silent Hill we know, and it's a long walk to the Historical Society building. Given how much space there is combined with how slow we move, I didn't take the time to explore all around, but there's probably something there to give you an edge. And I wouldn't know, I was trying really hard to beat the game fast. The building doesn't hold much inside, but it does contain something, or rather someone we know.
It's him.
An old painting of Pyramid Head, an execution of the past and a present-day monster, constantly after us. The building ends with a set of stairs, with a long descent in front of us, slowly but surely getting closer and closer to hell. The new environment is dark and has an iron feeling to it all, and that's because now we're inside of a prison, the Toluca prison. Since the game doesn't really mention it, or at the very least I didn't find any mention of it when I played, the Toluca prison was the building that existed before the Historical Society was built, and now we're here as a brand new inmate. Like most of the game so far, it's several mini puzzles building up to solving the main one, but before we properly get into the prison itself, there's a room here that I enjoy a lot for as annoying and messed up as it looked the first time. After grabbing this key, you'll realize you're stuck in this room covered in bugs all over the place, and the door is locked behind a code, and in the room spawn small beetles that try to attack you. They're no major threat, but not being able to leave and them spawning non-stop can quickly cause you to panic. The code calls for brute force to complete, but the real way to figure it out is to use the numbers that aren't covered in blood to eventually get out of there, and to jump down for a second time to prison. Conveniently waking up. Landing in the cafeteria after magically or metaphorically or something else silly surviving another drop, we quickly meet back up with Eddie, talking to himself up to no good. Eddie killed someone in sort of self-defense until his story keeps falling apart.
Oh, just came at me.
So he attacked you. And you shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. He made me do it.
Okay, calm down, Eddie.
Came out of nowhere. Tried sneaking up on me in the dark. I heard footsteps, so I turned back and he was right there. The way he looked at me, I just had to do it.
He looked at you. Eddie, you can't just kill someone because the way they looked at you.
The way he looks at us after he points the gun at us is almost like something's changing in his mind. Like he's debating whether or not he should pull the trigger. He doesn't, but treats the whole situation like it was some bad joke. And with a new wave of confidence, he moves along without us yet again. A few steps forward and now we are officially inside the Toluca prison. Not sure why that's the name since we're in Maine, but hey, I visited the real one a long while back. If there's anything to mention about this section of the game, it's that 1, we're getting a new upgrade to our arsenal very soon, and 2, some call this the scariest or worst part of the game. Where do I stand, you may ask? I don't know. It's worth mentioning this section of the game is pretty long, almost as long as the hospital section even, with lots and lots of rooms to figure out. So for the purpose of saving time, only the important stuff should be mentioned. One of which is that the spiders have gotten a fucking upgrade. Oh, what the fuck was that? Not only were they hard-hitting and fast before, but now they're ambushing you from above, and they will always be present. My advice? Bait them into jumping at you, because once they're on the floor, you can smack the shit out of them while they're grounded, where nearly every enemy won't be getting back up after a nice round of pounding. The save room we'll be heading back to often is the yard. My first time inside, I found nothing. I crossed the entire room to see nothing at all, and on my second time entering the room, there seems to be something I might have missed the first time around. Okay, what the fuck? These gallows are our main puzzle to solve. All around the prison are rooms marked by an animal, and using weights, we can enter the new rooms to collect all 6 of them to solve our problem. Before I forget to mention it, in this room specifically, because of how open it is, the game tries to spook us with the sound of something running in the distance. And yes, it did scare me the first time. What the fuck is this? Instead of dragging you along for each and every single room and what the puzzles were, I decided to just list one unique detail about all of them. The Headless Serpent room is a clusterfuck of enemies trying to take a chunk out of your ass, but you're rewarded with a hunting rifle key after surviving everything. For our final weapon, it's technically the strongest too since it has the stopping power of the shotgun, but not limited by its range. My weapon tip with it? Try and go for a headshot if you can. Most of the time, treat this as another shotgun, but acknowledge it has the distance with it too. And headshots are satisfying to land, especially on the nurse. The Hornless Ox room takes us on a wild ride with too many damn spiders and a rush of enemies at the end to make you hate yourself. The Eyeless Boar is a really straightforward room with the easiest puzzle in the game at the end, so just finish typing the word sick. The Wingless Dove room is also nothing special, but it also managed to scare the fucking shit out of me because of this single room and the noise you hear once inside. You allow me to open it, but you give me nothing to shake. And I'm out of here. That scared the fucking shit out of me. Returning back to the yard, it's raining and it's clear as day to see the gallows ahead of us. Not using all the weight we grabbed from every room lets us angle the puzzle straight forward to the gallows right in front of us. This gives us the final piece of the puzzle, the execution lever that we can stick right there in front of us. And when used, it opens up one final puzzle, though to call it a puzzle would be a bit of a lie. We have a story in front of us and we can alter how it goes. The point is to create a true ending and choose the right noose to pull down. But the reality is you can pick any noose to truly progress. At least I think so anyway, because I accidentally pulled this one and down I went. Okay, I googled it. Apparently I got lucky pulling this one. Wrong one gets you shoved in a room full of enemies. Lucky me, I suppose. Dropping down, all there is available is to jump down another hole, and then another hole, until you find an elevator, which takes us even deeper than before, bringing us to a new location similar to a hotel. There's a newspaper covered in blood, blocking some of the words, but it details the death of someone named Thomas Orozco, murdered in his own home, and soon we can hear Angela scream. Once we find her, she's clearly not doing well, terrified of something that's not there.
Tell him I'll be good, please.
Angela?
No, please.
You have some serious PTSD. At least, that's what we thought. Uh-oh.
Daddy!
What in God's name is attacking us? Holy shit, James, you are tough. A monster that's so disgusting it's impossible to tell what it is other than its massive metal frame surrounding it. Its roar paralyzes us and it charges to attack, destroying the environment around us every time it makes a move. Once enough damage is done, the entire room goes dark. The only light is from a new hallway spawning, and always out of reach from us is Angela running away. She runs into a closet covered in newspaper and has a teddy bear inside, but there's no exit. She's just gone. Soon enough, we find a room. It has a TV playing what sounds like a recording of someone angry. Only after breaking it does the monster come back for round 2. Ugh. Looks like it's round 2, huh? This time in an even smaller space from before. Well, that just means he can't get a running start. Ow! Okay. That's a no. No! Once shot at enough, he'll disappear the same way again. This time the environment is getting more and more aged and destroyed as we go further, until he tries to surprise attack us, but past that we find another TV, which is a little clearer than before, but still too broken to understand. Not breaking it causes it to blow up in our face regardless, opening up a more broken path that gets destroyed more and more as we progress. The entire building is falling apart and some of the walls look like they're made of skin as we pass them. After shattering another TV, the next hall is completely distorted into a factory-like setting, one covered in messy blood-stained tarps and live machinery everywhere you look, leading us to the final confrontation with the monster. Let's settle this motherfucker! It can only attack at a close range, but you need to be as close as possible to maximize damage and to avoid shooting the metal frame to make sure you actually hurt it. Leave me alone! It takes so many shots to take down. Eventually I was running out of everything and resorted to fighting it hand to hand to finish it off until it finally went down. Angela, on the other hand, finally shows up full of rage and keeps hitting it even after it's down.
Okay, Angela. It's okay.
Keeping her guard up when talking to us aggressively.
I just...
Then, like you probably assumed, the monster we took down was Angela's dad, and it's clear she was heavily abused by him, having nothing but hatred for him.
You disgusting pig.
Though she starts to take some of this anger out on us when we mention Mary.
You're Mary. Your own little Mary.
At least she was. Admit it.
You didn't want her around anymore.
She shouldn't know anything about us or Mary, but with what she was saying, she clearly struck a nerve in James before running off again in search of her mom.
We found someone else?
No!
I need to find my mama.
I never...
I'll touch more on her father and the monster form of him we just fought soon, but for now we gotta keep progressing because now we're in a labyrinth, and right from the beginning, a giant wall of limbs waving rhythmically is gonna be what stops us from going any further. Getting close to the endless amount of spiders doesn't physically seem to affect James, but rather hurt his head. The labyrinth has nothing inside it at first, and the only way there is leads us to a room with Maria.
Maria! I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt?
What the fuck?
Not at all, silly.
She should be dead, but somehow she isn't. And James is obviously dumbfounded by how she is even alive, but she doesn't even react normally at all. Like everything that happened didn't. Like something pretending to be human. In this jail cell she's inside of, she mentioned something that no one could know about. A videotape James and Mary made.
You forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
The entire encounter is messing with James badly. Not only does her attempts of seduction start to dig away at James, but it's obvious she's not even close to being normal. Back inside the labyrinth is something new, taking up the vast empty space from before. Underneath the cloth is a giant metal cube with faces on it in front of a building. Rotating the cube rotates the entire structure in front of us. With it, we'll be heading into 3 different rooms somewhat similar to how the prison was like. Now, for the purpose of time, the first room isn't important unless we go deep into psychological, illogical, and whatever else logical words exist. The second and third room are far more important. Though the only part of the second room that really needs to be mentioned is the fact that at some point, our old friend Pyramid Head gives us a good old chase. No! Oh, goodbye! Goodbye! He's a real piece of crap chasing us when we're vulnerable, but this is the first time we can take a proper look at his design, since he's choosing not to destroy these metal bars separating us. The ending of this room doesn't even involve him. Oh. But what does involve him is the ending to the third room of the labyrinth, which was just surviving wave after wave of enemies in new rooms. In this narrow area of the labyrinth, we're just stuck here. One side is covered in a mass of moving limbs, and the other is a wall. But just inch a little closer and our friend gives us a nice surprise. How? Why? Why are you here? I made the mistake of thinking this was a boss fight and we were forced to fight him. That would be wrong because after 2 deaths, I backed right into the mass and realized that if Pyramid Head is nearby, we can walk through it. So in a very uneasy section of trying to run through this mass while simultaneously being chased by the unstoppable monster, the roof collapses, keeping us safe. For now at least. This hall leads to a door where we find Maria, but once again she's dead. This time not from something physical, but her body is visibly sick, dying very similar to how Mary did 3 years ago. The sight brings James to tears, but as if he realizes this woman isn't his Mary, he stops and gets right back up but hesitates for a minute, falling for Maria even further. The iron cube and the structure are gone now, and next to it is a pile of debris holding the sword of Pyramid Head. We have to use it to be able to progress through the mass of mannequins that have been blocking us for the past 2 hours. And I'm sure this scene has some symbolism in it that I may or may not talk about sooner or later. This is so weird, and I'm all for it. I really enjoy this. The game stops us with a ladder to ensure that we don't take it with us everywhere, and now we're at a graveyard. Seemingly for the Toluca prison it looks like, with some of the names on the graves marked as traitors. The real interesting part is that there are 3 open graves in front of us. One for Angela Orozco, Eddie Dombrowski, and lastly, James Sunderland. With our name on it, it'd be rude not to check it out, right? So down we go yet again. The fall keeps us in the same kind of room, but the further we walk, the bloodier it gets. Almost as if it's some kind of warning. And on the other side of the door is someone we already know.
Couldn't leave well enough alone, huh?
He's far less stable than before, completely aggressive and dangerous. Whatever James tries to say doesn't go through to him. Like everything he hears from us is instead another insult to him.
Tell me to relax? You think I'm stupid. You think I don't see it. But you've been laughing at me all along. Ever since we first met.
He gets far too aggressive, so eventually we have to defend ourselves. Before running off, Eddie is quick to remind James that this town, Silent Hill, called the both of them. And if James wants to pretend he's innocent in all this, he's got another thing coming.
Don't you know that? Well, you're about to find out.
Something you might also notice is that there are 5 corpses in this refrigerator room, but all 5 of them are James. Outside we're in a meat locker building, but the hanging meat doesn't look like any kind of animal to me. And all the while Eddie spills his secret that after being bullied and harassed all his life for his appearance, he snapped and killed a dog and shot his leg, gloating about what he did like it's an accomplishment.
And now it's your turn, James.
This is the first and only human boss fight in the entire game. Eddie with a gun hiding and strategically appearing around us, getting ready to add us to his kill count. In his second phase, he shoots at the sprinkler system, fogging up the entire room, adding ambush melee attacks into his kit.
Hi here, James.
Also, in case you didn't realize, getting shot at by him is incredibly lethal. In his final phase, the meat hooks start moving, adding to his stealth approach, while at the same time getting more aggressive with how he attacks us. Come on. I used to think you were cool, Eddie. Whew. Come on. Go down. Down! You fucking go! In the end, we win the fight and Eddie kneels over and dies. It didn't have to end this way, but his mind was too far gone to listen to reason, and James looks at his hands, trembling, similar to the way they were at the beginning of the game. With his death, it's time we take a quick look at Eddie and how he changed as the game went on. When we first met him, he was a puking mess at the Woodside apartment building. The sight of a dead body terrified and disgusted him. He was afraid of us calling the police too before calming down, but upset we refused to join him in leaving town. When we meet again at the movie theater, he's with Laura, who he seemingly gets along with, but she's quick to insult him with his reaction clearly indicating he's used to being berated by people. And more importantly, he thought the police were after him. Personality-wise, he shifted to being distant with James, talking to us as though he was forced to and is annoyed and irritated, notably by James' small comment about his appetite and how he refused to join us this time because he was still bitter when we refused the first time. The third time we meet him was at the Toluca prison cafeteria. This time armed with a gun, he's talking to himself, but he looks incredibly relaxed this time. The idea of killing to him is now something he feels powerful about, like he just gained a massive ego, but isn't so far off yet that he can proudly boast about it just yet, still trying to lie to James and pretend he didn't do anything. It's in the last encounter with him where he's completely off the deep end. He's proudly killing, and it all comes from how much anger he felt being bullied for being fat his entire life. Before coming to Silent Hill, he had enough and killed one of his bully's dogs before, in a moment of panic, shooting the bully in his leg. This explains why he told Laura the police were after him, and why he was so afraid of us finding him in the apartment building next to a dead body. This place brings out the worst in people, confronts them with their own thoughts in a physically twisted way. Eddie felt good about what he did to his bully and his dog. Eddie always had these thoughts and impulses. Silent Hill only took away his excuses. In the beginning, he might have been terrified and disgusted by the sight of what he did, and maybe even regret. But the further he's confronted by this, the more powerful he feels by how easy the act of taking a life is. Finding it enjoyable, and now looking back at what he did with joy. Eddie was a victim who became the monster. Someone we might have once sympathized with, but who chose to embrace cruelty instead. In the end, Silent Hill didn't just punish him. It gave him the fight he thought he wanted, and he lost it. Exiting the building, we're outside on the docks of Silent Hill. Not in the Otherworld this time either, just the same foggy place we're used to. All that's left to do is to paddle back to town, in silence. Arriving at a pier, we reach the final destination in our long journey, the Lakeview Hotel. While likely not intended, the sign on the right before entering the building says "Welcome back." The map when opened has writing on it, "Waiting for you." Soon, we'll meet her. Though quickly inside... What the fuck was that?
Scare you?
You! We see Laura again. She's done running from us now, and the letter from Mary she had was real. This letter was directly made for Laura after she passed away. It's clear in this letter Mary loved Laura a lot, even treating her as though she were her own daughter, and it's clear from this letter Laura hated James because of how distant he was during Mary's final moments. The final sentence is what draws attention to James. A happy 8th birthday. Laura turned 8 just a week ago, and it becomes clear as day Mary couldn't have been dead for 3 years. Laura also reveals that there were 2 letters, one for her and one for James, but the letter inside the envelope is gone, and Laura runs off to find wherever she could have lost it. One thing to note here is Laura drew again on the window here, a happy dog with a bunny. The first time we see a drawing from her, it was just a bunny, but since we met her, every subsequent drawing has had a wolf chasing the bunny, essentially representing us chasing her, and with her finally no longer holding any resentment towards us, the scary wolf finally became a happy dog. On the 3rd floor, we can hear Mary yell for us. The only way to reach her is blocked, and we can't get to her just yet. One lock is all that keeps us from getting her. After a long series of puzzles that quite frankly do not need to be brought up, we get to the 3rd floor and pick up a small figurine of Cinderella. Right after we get it though, something big is close by. What in the jingly jangle motherfucker are you? Holy shit! The big hanging bastard that's always been below us is right in front of us now and is extremely fucking deadly. One hit from its slamming attack is enough to kill us regardless of how much health we have. Oh, that's an instant kill, okay. And the only way we can hurt it is from shooting either of its 3 open mouths. It still does everything else it used to do from down below, but now with its giant hands it has ways of getting close and turning us into ground beef. You would have backhanded the fucking shit out of me. They don't call me James Thunderland for nothing though. Oh shit, I knocked the shit out of you! Now let's discuss the final puzzle of the game, the music box. It's quite simple. All we need to do is grab 3 figurines to place inside and to activate it. With Cinderella in hand, there are 2 more left to grab. The second figure is in a locked room that has us fix a broken mirror and place an apple in front of it. The mirror goes dark and inside the other room is Snow White ready to be grabbed. The final figurine is without a doubt the hardest and, dare I say, the scariest part of the entire game. The employee elevator on the 3rd floor can only take 1 person at a time, but James is too heavy and so to progress further, we have to abandon all the items we have. All our ammo, all our notes, and even our flashlight, gone. Down the elevator we go, and in this section of the hotel are the giant hanging enemies again. But this time, they're in our path, and with not even a pipe to defend ourselves, we are more vulnerable than ever before. So what is this name of the monster, you might be wondering? They're called Mandarin, and there's no real tip for dealing with them anymore now that we got this far. All we can do is run and hide and hope to God it can't get us. This kitchen area is tight knit, and we have to go through every room in here to figure out a code to open the safe in the very middle room. The code to get it is from grabbing 3 different jewels that once formed in a pattern hand us the code. And when we open the safe up, inside is a videotape and a key to the basement to leave. Believing isn't so simple because we still have to run and hide from the Mandarins lurking and patrolling the room. But after all is said and done, we get brought to a bar where we pick up the final figurine in front of a broken aquarium and jukebox. The Little Mermaid figurine. Now here's the fun part. You have to run through the hotel basically naked to get all of your items back. It doesn't seem so bad at first, but without a flashlight, this place looks entirely different. Completely and utterly worrying to go around every corner and not even knowing where you might be going if you don't remember the layout of the hotel. I had to search up a map on my phone because I just couldn't find it, and thankfully got everything back. The final puzzle is actually very easy once you start it. I played the game on hard mode for both puzzles and the difficulty, and this felt like a small reward for going all this way with the hardest puzzles the game could throw at me. The first part only needs you to match the lines so the figurines can reach the end, and then have to wind them up enough to the right speed to get them to enter their respective hole. But because we toughed it out and played the hard difficulty, we only need to wind each figurine up just once to solve it, getting the last key for the entire game. Finally, we can see Mary. Up the stairs we climb all the way to the 3rd floor, using the key to enter the corridor we were locked out of from the beginning, and here we are. Room 312, our special place. It's time. Mary? But it's empty. There's no one and nothing in here. Nothing but a chair, a TV, and a VCR practically begging us to play the videotape. The tape is of their final vacation here in this hotel.
Are you taping again? Come on.
And the last time Mary visited Silent Hill. A peaceful sight until quickly it plays something that was never meant to be recorded.
Promise you'll take me again, James.
A gruesome sight that James locked away in his mind. Maria never passed away from her disease. James killed her. We can barely process what's going on before Laura comes in, unaware of what we just saw, and James, who looks physically worse than ever, doesn't hide what he did.
I killed her.
I want her back. Give her back to me. I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! She was always waiting for you. Why?
I'm sorry. Mary, you know, isn't here.
The hotel has now changed entirely. We're in the final Otherworld segment of the game, or rather should I say, we finally left the Otherworld and reached reality, to the true state of the Lakeview Hotel. The truth is, this hotel burned down before James ever returned to Silent Hill, and this perfect place that looks no different than the one he remembers back with Mary was the Otherworld, the last piece of hope James had left in this town. And now finally confronted with the truth, he's seeing things clear now. As he mopes, the radio has a voice coming through from the other side.
James!
It's Mary.
James!
She begs us to come to her, that we're so close to finally reaching her.
Come to me! Do you hear me? Please! Why won't you come?
But where? Where are you?
You're so close now. Please, don't give up. Don't leave me out here, James! James!
As we exit the room, we can see the full extent of the damage the building had sustained. It's completely ruined and destroyed, breaking apart as we move along. There are no enemies here either. They're all gone, nowhere in sight to stop or hinder us from going to the flooded basement. Mary's in here somewhere. Ugh. In here though, we get to our final encounter with Angela, who passed this door is in a burning building. She's still seeing things wrong, thinking this time we're her mother, but quickly realizes that's not the case.
You're not my mama.
She's disappointed, very disappointed, and James acknowledges what she said at the beginning of the game, that she was right, that what they're looking for isn't here. She thanks us for helping her earlier, but wishes we hadn't saved her. And specifically here, talking about saving her, she says it in a way of obvious wishful thinking.
Will you love me? Care for me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought.
No one can save her and heal all of her pain. Someone else can't fix all of your own problems, and exposing fully just how broken she is, clearly intending suicide. But we won't give it to her.
No, I won't.
To which she says, saving it for yourself. Walking up the steps in this inferno before disappearing for the story for good, James notes how hot it is in that room. And Angela, surprised he can see it, tells him that for her, this is how it's always looked. Now let's finally go over two very important points of the game, Angela as a character and the Otherworld. To simplify it, the Otherworld is an environment completely unique to a person to create their own personal nightmare realm. The Otherworld for Eddie before and during his fight was a slaughterhouse with human bodies on the hooks, closely embodying the fact that Eddie was a killer who, after spending more and more time in Silent Hill, began to enjoy the act of taking someone's life. The icy interior matching both his loneliness and treatment of the people in his life. The Otherworld for Angela, however, is a bit more complicated and has to do with more of her past before she ever got to Silent Hill. Her entire life, Angela was abused by her entire family. Her father physically and sexually assaulted her. Her brother did the same, and her mother blamed her for it, constantly happening, putting her in a position with no one to turn to, no one to save her. Before the abstract daddy fight in the game, the bloody newspaper makes it clear her father was murdered, and the culprit was none other than Angela herself after snapping one day at the constant abuse. Her initial Otherworld was similar to a house but more claustrophobic, and specifically looking like a bedroom, the place where all her abuse took place. As the fight with the abstract daddy goes on, the environment changes, breaking down until it becomes a factory-like setting, with walls resembling human skin. The skin representing herself and the factory setting representing how she wasn't seen as a person, but rather an object to be used, and explains why some of the skin walls have been cut up and have metal in them, as a literal visualization of her dehumanization that was done to her. So now let's start from the very beginning, to when we first met Angela. Her reaction makes sense now why she was so terrified when James approached her, knowing the abuse she went through. And when she warns us not to go to Silent Hill, it's because in her Otherworld, which we'll explain eventually, no good will come out of it. The second time we meet her when she's contemplating suicide is the first time we see her both insult James and regress from her trauma, almost attacking us for getting too close and running off. The third time we meet her at the park during the night, she's in front of a statue just staring at it. The statue in specific is the Praying Woman, and depicts a mother with her child by her feet, and Angela searching for her mother this whole time is just staring at it, longing for her own mother to be like this. She wanted to believe her mother was her savior, and kept that belief her whole time in Silent Hill. When James approaches her, she refuses to join him because she views all men badly because of her experience, and when James mentions looking for Laura, a little girl, she runs away scared because in that moment she stops seeing us as James, but as her father. In the fourth encounter before the Abstract Daddy boss fight, she's vulnerable and terrified on the floor, begging us to tell him she'll be good, who I presume is her father. Despite this being her monster, she doesn't fight it at all, but is seen time and time again running away from it while we deal with it. And after it's dead, she takes out all that anger inside of her on this corpse that can't fight back. The physical manifestation of her trauma against her father is dead, but it doesn't mean that she's just gonna magically get better. Someone else saving her can't fix her, and that's abundantly clear when she's immediately quick to insult us after we mention Mary to her. Before we talk about her final appearance in the story, let's talk about the design of the Abstract Daddy, because it's very fucked up once you take a closer look at it and see its two humanoid figures fused together with one bigger body on top of and towering over the other small one. This brings us to our final encounter with her in the burning staircase. We get to see her otherworld, and it's pure flames. James puts it best, it's hot as hell in here, because to Angela, all she sees here is hell. She mistakes James for her mother because she's still clinging to the hope that her mother is here, that the savior she's been looking for all this time is finally here. But after realizing it was just James, she realizes just how pointless everything was, and is fully intent on ending her life. Angela's purpose in the story is the struggle of saving yourself, but in her case, she never could. The lifelong abuse, killing her father, and fearing all men has broken her beyond repair. She wants to be saved so desperately, but knows better than anyone, no one can save her. No one will save her, and she can't save herself either, ending her story in Silent Hill 2. And when we encounter enemies again, this time they're not the same as before. The spitter doesn't move, it lies on the floor weakly like it's crying. The nurse can barely keep itself up before collapsing to the ground, and the spider can barely move at all. All of these basic enemies are weak on the floor and unable to attack us anymore. And when we reach the final save point in the game, there are a total of 9 red squares in front of us. With this, we have one final save before the game ends, and a question along with it. Why are there 9 red squares now, and why is James looking away? This is hard to answer because, quite frankly, there is no true or confirmed answer. Only theory crafting to make sense of what it is. But to me, I like to believe that this is regarding the 9 monsters throughout the game. Excluding Eddie, who was a human, there are a grand total of 9 enemy types, with some being bosses and other common foes like the spitter or the nurse. These enemies are all physical manifestations of James' guilt regarding the death of Mary, how he felt guilt and regret for killing her. It makes sense when you take a moment to think that just before encountering these 9 red squares, the enemies in the game that would normally give us trouble are too weak to even fight back now, and he's face to face with these squares, which can be seen as the internalized guilt he faces here. And him looking away from it, and looking away from himself, is one last final pathetic attempt of trying to avoid the truth. Though with all the enemies we encountered so far, there's one more that has to appear one final time.
James!
Leave her alone! Leave us both the hell alone!
I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore. I'm ready.
The Pyramid Heads don't use a sword anymore, but rather use spears to attack us with longer range now, and the two constantly chase after us, making any effort to run away useless. You will die here, a lot. Dodging at the perfect timing is the only way to avoid being mangled by the two and their constant stream of attacks. The shotgun and rifle can momentarily stall them, but it only works once, and they'll just keep pushing forward. And as the fight goes on, the area around us is collapsing. The roof caves in, and the walls start to crumble and rubble fills the room. Until finally, after dealing enough damage in unison, the executioners in front of us kill themselves because their role with James is finished. What the fuck? Throughout the game, there's only been one pyramid head messing with us, so the second one in this finale might be confusing, but we'll go over that part soon. In the hands of both of them are two items, a rust-colored egg and a scarlet egg. They both act as keys to open the doors in front of us, but only one needs to be used, and they lead to the same place. However, just like the coin puzzle in the apartment building, this defines your ending. Past the door is a long hallway, while James remembers what's more than likely the last words she ever told him. I'll let this play out in full.
Flowers? I don't want any damn flowers. Just go home already. Look at me. I'm disgusting. Between the disease and the drugs, I look like a monster. Well, what are you looking at? Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone already. I'm no use to anyone. I'll be dead soon anyway. It'd be easier if they just killed me. But I guess the hospital's making a nice profit off of me. Why are you still here? I told you to go. Are you deaf? Don't come back. James. Wait. Please. Don't go. Don't leave me alone. I didn't mean what I said. Please. Tell me I'll be okay. Tell me I'm not gonna die. Help me.
An important thing about this dialogue from Mary is that if you choose to, you can leave before she finishes talking, which also dictates the ending you get and leads us to a dark, rainy room with the final collectible photo of the game and stairs taking us upwards before finally using a ladder and meeting Mary.
Mary?
After their embrace, however, it takes just one sentence from her for James to realize that's not Mary, but Maria yet again. This angers Maria because she changed a lot from her initial appearance, trying to appeal to James sexually, to copying Mary's look down to the last detail, but failing to be what she is. She can be anything, but she can't be Mary.
I won't let you go. I can't!
Refusing to let us go and refusing to let this happen, she transforms right in front of us for the final boss. Phase 1, she can teleport all around the room while summoning swarms of moths to attack us. Everywhere she teleports to, a trail of moths that exist to follow her, an icon of death constantly associated with her. The moths that attack us are weak and don't even deal much damage to us, but the constant swarm of them is what makes them deadly. And much like the flesh-lit boss fight, Maria has a metal hook to attack us with the closer we are. Phase 1 is the easiest, but by no means easy. When Phase 2 begins, the metallic frame encasing her bends into what resembles a scorpion. You're just getting started. Before dropping us downwards for Phase 2's battle to begin. Oh, looks like it's gonna be harder to see you now. The arena this time is dark and rotten, just like how James' Otherworld has looked from the beginning, and Maria now completely using the same form of attacks as the Flesh Lips boss from the hospital, hiding in the roof before slamming down to attack periodically. She's extra vulnerable when attacking this time around, so this phase shouldn't take long. But once this phase ends, the environment around us collapses, putting us in a foggy, destroyed room for both the final phase and the final fight against Maria. Let's finish this. This fight becomes beyond difficult. Not only have you used up all of your resources against the Pyramid Head duo, but her battle drags on into 3 total phases, draining us from all of our resources. And in this phase, she's more aggressive than ever before. She'll constantly charge at us, slash at us repeatedly, and when she teleports away, she'll summon her moths again. So with nearly no heals left in this 3rd phase, to refusing to supply you with any more ammo, you have to play perfectly. Waste no ammo and dodge all of her attacks with no mistakes. You will die here, but you're going to keep trying again and again until eventually memorizing all of her attack patterns, perfectly using up all your remaining resources until you finally win. Once you've beaten her, you still need to shoot her one last time to end everything. She's frail, broken, and barely alive, only able to mutter his name as James pulls the trigger, ending the memory tormenting him, and once more losing her all over again. Immediately after the fight, James sits in his car talking to himself, verbally stating the part of himself that he never wanted to admit. He misses Mary more than anything. He feels so much guilt and regret for what he did, and much like Angela earlier, he's unable to move on with his life like this. He can't. He takes one last look in the back in silence, revealing that Mary's body was in his car all along, before turning on his car, and as the screen fades to black, we hear James drive off into the Toluca Lake to kill himself. With this, we get to hear the full letter sent by Mary from the beginning of the game, the missing letter Laura wanted to give us, and Mary's true final words to James.
In my restless dreams, I see that town.
Is this the water ending?
Silent Hill.
She hates her sickness. She wishes life wasn't so unfair, and she's so sorry for how she treated James, understanding she took her anger and fear out on him, knowing how it would make him feel to see his wife slowly deteriorate right in front of him. A detail I missed the first time is, as the letter slowly falls, you can see bubbles rise from below for a short moment until they stop, signifying James has passed away, unable to keep living with himself and unable to keep living for himself as the game ends. And the credits roll, ending our game. For one of 8 endings, that is. Yeah, 8 endings. There's a lot of fucking things to do. But before we go over every ending and then some, first we should take a look at the man himself, James Sunderland, and his story in Silent Hill 2. At the beginning of the game, James is here in Silent Hill because of a letter from Mary he received telling him that she's there waiting for him. But the reality is, there was no letter from Mary. And 3 years hadn't passed since she died. It was just a few short days, but his denial created this gap. And these were both illusions in James' mind as a way to bring him back to Silent Hill, where he and 3 others were drawn to that town. The letter itself that brought him to that town doesn't even exist. When examining it before the game ends, it's nothing but a blank piece of paper. We talked on the cold and hot Otherworld for Eddie and Angela so far, but we haven't gone over why Silent Hill looks the way it does to James. And it's simple once you take a closer look at it. James only accepts the truth at the end of the game. Once that truth was accepted, the environment is physically breaking apart as he accepts that Mary is long gone and it's his fault. But until then, the entire town is covered in a thick fog, preventing you from seeing just a few feet in front of you. This fog is a physical representation of his state of mind. It keeps the truth he refuses to acknowledge out of sight, keeps everything in this fake town his mind created blurred and out of sight. This shield doesn't last forever because Silent Hill is meant to force you to face your past, to face the truth, and the town forces James to slowly understand this with the monsters he encounters. In the effort of saving time and saving the deeper explanations for the monsters that really deserve it, we'll quickly summarize what each monster represented to James and why they appear the way they do. The Spitter, which has always had a bounded appearance, is the literal form of being bound that James felt with Mary when she was sick. The toxic acid it's spitting out being the toxic emotions James bottling up finally coming out. The mannequin spiders, which were just legs fused together at the hip, were the sexual frustrations James felt, being a sexualized and quite literal objectified view view of James' desire. The nurses and their suggestive outfits being yet another form brought to life by sexual frustration. But more specifically, their bubblehead exterior is due to the fact that during her sickness, Mary's head was swollen, and the nurses are a far more exaggerated visualization of it. The roaches in the game that can't cause any real harm to us but are constant annoyances to us are representations of his guilt, constantly gnawing at him. Those are all the basic enemies of the game, and if you're unhappy with my short, undescriptive approach of all these, here's my phone number. We can argue about it. The bosses that really need some description here are Flesh Lips, the final fight against Maria, and most importantly, Pyramid Head. Flesh Lips is a fight inside the hospital after Laura locked us in a room, and it has one of the more disgusting designs in the game. Trapped in a metal cage with a mouth between the legs, this monster is meant to represent Mary's time restrained to nothing but her bed, bound to it and unable to leave. The lips between the legs play into both the loss of intimacy and communication towards the end of Mary's life. The monster form of Maria at the end of the game needs more information to properly get an understanding of her, and it all comes from the first time we see Maria. She's everything Mary was, but a more ideal version of her that James made up in his mind. She's flirtatious, healthy, hands-on, and constantly makes excuses to stay by his side, essentially being his dream woman. And throughout the game, James rejects her again and again, despite how hard she tries to replace Mary, but she still can't ever be her, and she'll always only ever be Maria. The monster form she takes is meant to be just like the Flesh Lips, because it is her, bed-bound but without the binding covering her entire body, fully displaying her brittle, weak body, resembling just how weak and brittle she became after she got sick. Killing her is the final act in James' story, confronting the truth that Maria is a fake and that Mary is gone. Lastly, the important one, Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head is different from all the other monsters in Silent Hill. These monsters are the manifestation of his guilt, repressed emotions, and regret for what he's done. Pyramid Head, on the other hand, is different from those. It exists in his world to punish him. The design of Pyramid Head is based on the old executioners of Silent Hill's past, and while this monster exists to punish James, it is also meant to serve as a guide to James, which is why it doesn't directly kill James when it can in several moments throughout the game. The only killing done by Pyramid Head, however, is Maria, killing her 3 times throughout the entire game. First in the elevator, killing the false idea of Mary right in front of James. Next inside the jail cell, killed off screen, but body presented so James can witness it yet again. And lastly, the final time when Maria is executed right in front of James yet again, constantly killing the illusion of Mary to both torment and guide James to the truth. As for why there's a second Pyramid Head by the end of the game, there's never been a true clear answer behind it, but there's 2 possible reasons for it. The first, which I like, is that after killing Eddie, James looks down at his hands shaking, clearly regretful. Considering Mary's death was far more recent than the game lets on, the shaking of his hands has to do with the feeling of guilt from when he killed Mary. With another person dead by his hands, it's more than likely that manifested into another Pyramid Head seen at the end of the game. The other reason that can explain the second Pyramid Head is that he has so much guilt at the end of the game, a single executioner is not enough to embody it anymore, with one Pyramid Head representing the act of killing Mary and the guilt of wanting her gone. The 2 Pyramid Heads killed themselves once their part in James' story is over. James knows why they exist, why he needed them, but he doesn't need them anymore. And their suicide is James ready to accept both the truth and his crime. His meeting with Angela, Laura, and Eddie is in a way a reflection of some of the worst aspects of himself. Angela mirrored his hopelessness and self-destruction, Eddie his denial and blame, and Laura the truth. Angela was drowning in her trauma and past. It consumed her, and unable to fight back against it, it led her story ending with suicide. Eddie was in denial. He was in denial of being a killer. In denial whenever James confronted him on who he killed when we meet him back in the cafeteria. Always making excuses for what he did and why he did it, and is an example of how James could become if he never took responsibility for what he did. Lastly, Laura is truth. She sees Silent Hill as it really is. Just a town. No fog, no monsters, because she carries no guilt. To her, James is nothing more than a jerk who mistreated Mary. As annoying as she is, Laura doesn't lie to James. She had a letter from Mary. She saw the way James treated her, and she reminds him that even in her final days, Mary still loved him. Before we finally start talking about the other endings in the game, there's one last thing I want to bring attention to. These photos specifically. These photos are scattered all around the game until the very end. They don't make any sense at all though, like it's just the ramblings of some weird side character that doesn't get any attention other than this. However, there was a code in these photos. and on Reddit, a user named Dale Robinson solved the mystery behind these photos, showing how he came to his conclusion, ultimately showcasing that the message in these photos say, "You've been here for 2 decades." This has 2 implications. The first is that it's been 2 decades since the original Silent Hill 2 released, and this message isn't for James, but for fans instead. Or, if you're someone interested in theories, this plays a huge role in the ever so popular time loop theory. This theory, to simplify, is the idea that James is stuck in a purgatory time loop, reliving his guilt again and again until he reaches a fitting conclusion for his story. The evidence supporting this theory is that of all 8 endings in the game, only 1 is to be considered the true canon ending for the game, and the rest result in him looping right back in the bathroom outside Silent Hill to redo everything all over again. Another pillar of support for this theory is that throughout the game, but most notably before the fight against Eddie, are several corpses of James, dead from different interactions with Eddie here maybe. It's an interesting idea, especially with the 2 decades message found in the photos that adds even more layers to this thick onion of a game. But it's also quick to be dismantled when the developers of the game state that there is no true ending for Silent Hill 2, and that each ending is canon in its own right. Speaking of endings, it's time we finally go over all of these and end this long ass fucking video. There are 3 main endings you can achieve in a normal playthrough: Leave, Maria, and In Water. The ending with Maria is a lot different than the one I got. The ending you get is based on your actions and how you played through the game, essentially choosing how James as a character grows or devolves. On the building where we fought Maria is instead Mary, and instead of a happy reunion is a conflicting, hard to watch mess.
Yes, worse than anything.
This ending is full of denial from James. He lies, makes excuses, and chooses to cling to a fantasy by choosing Maria over the real Mary. The boss fight is all the same, but once it ends, James returns to the strip club where another Maria is, intending to take her with him. When she hands him the letter Mary left for him, he doesn't even bother to read it. He just tucks it away as they leave.
Let's go.
However, in the process of leaving the town, Maria has a bad cough. And in a cold response, James tells her to do something about the cough, ending with James doomed to repeat everything all over again. The most important thing that people argue over is how can Maria leave Silent Hill? There's 2 answers really. The first is because this town gave physical form to his inner turmoil. Maria is just life created from the town, able to leave with James. The second, which is what I believe, is that Maria isn't really there. James never moved on properly, and she's not really leaving town with him, but he thinks she is, and that's all he cares about and needs, never moving on properly. The third, and what many consider the true ending of the game, is the Leave ending. The entire intro and fight with Maria is the same. It's what comes after that matters, where James is with a sick and dying Mary, the real and true version of her. It's in this ending where James doesn't lie to himself in denial or succumb to self-destruction, acknowledging the truth here, that he did kill her because he wanted to end her suffering, but because he also wanted to free himself from the burden of dealing with her in her worsening condition. Before gone forever, she hands us the letter we heard in the In Water ending. And this time we go back to Laura. While we don't get to hear their exchange, James hands her the letter he got from Mary, and after a montage of all the important places of Silent Hill as Mary reads her letter, we see Laura and James together walking out of Silent Hill. The guilt may still exist within James, but he's learned to move on from it, no longer being bound by the past, and he can finally live for the future. The next 5 endings are exclusive to New Game Plus. It'd take me too long to explain how to get each of these, so I just won't explain it. Here's the number if you want to argue about it. The Bliss ending is one of the more unique and ambiguous endings where there is no final boss, and it ends after you watch the videotape. In the peaceful, happy moments recording Mary in this hotel room, it doesn't cut to the gruesome death of Mary, but continues, with James walking into frame this time, making the promise with Mary to bring her back to this place.
I promise.
It's worth mentioning that Mary's voice is a much lower quality because it's a recording, but James' voice still sounds the same.
Come on, we need to finish packing.
Everything's fine.
Before shutting it off, and as the camera pans out, the room is empty. James chooses to live in the past, to remember only the good memories before things became so bad, regressing to a point in time where there was nothing wrong, never truly changing. Rebirth is an ending from the original game that borrows some of its elements from the other Silent Hill games. Because before the final boss in the cutscene, where Maria tries to get to James, he knows right from the beginning she's not her. Without trying to argue or reason with her, he coldly states that there's a way to bring Mary back, scaring Maria as James bluntly tells her that to do so, he needs to kill the part of him that clings to her. In other words, using her to get what he wants. Maria, no longer fighting to get James, is now fighting to protect herself from James, but it will always end the same. After the fight, James is rowing in the Toluca Lake with Mary's body, and the way he talks here is unlike anything he said in the entire game so far. He speaks almost like he's been possessed before mentioning that the old gods of Silent Hill who've never left will grant any power to those who venerate them, even the power to defy death. Ending before we can see just what exactly happens between the two. In this ending, James can acknowledge what he did was wrong, and he understands her suffering, but he doesn't move on, clinging to an idea of bringing her back, unable to move forward in life, unable to live for himself. This next ending, Stillness, is my personal favorite of them all. It's a complete upgrade from the way In Water works, adding much more depth and emotion to it all. It all plays the same, but inside the car, he's not alone. In this ending, Mary offers words of comfort to James.
I miss you so much. I am sorry. I am so sorry.
The line, "Will you wait for me?" is clearly about death. Will she wait for him when he dies to reunite? And she says she's always been waiting for him.
I've always been waiting for you.
In the passenger seat is Mary's letter to him, unopened and won't be, before the same ending plays out driving into the lake yet again. Though you might call me crazy, there's a different interpretation I have here, and it's that where in the In-Watered ending, James undoubtedly killed himself. Here in Stillness, I feel as though James didn't stay in the car when it crashed. The audio for the scenes are pretty similar, but they're not the same. In Water, it's a rapid action of driving off and dying, whereas in Stillness, there's a gap in time before the accelerator is pressed. It makes me think James didn't kill himself during Stillness, but instead gave Mary a water grave as a final send-off. He can't imagine living life without Mary, and he hasn't exactly moved on. But he never really gave in to the self-destructive urge to give up on life either. And so he's just still, waiting for the time for when eventually he joins Mary in the afterlife.
I've always been waiting for you.
The last two endings of the game are joke endings, which are admittedly funny as fuck. The first I'll mention is the UFO ending, where James gets abducted by fucking aliens, I guess, and is in a really old silent movie format where the original James from Silent Hill from 2001 is named Space James, and James from the remake is actually a clone of him. What the fuck? Then aliens zap the clone James and take him away, while the space real 2001 James takes his place and is off to look for Mary. Konami, you truly outdid yourselves with this one. Finally, we reach the real final ending. You thought Leave was the canon ending, but in reality it was this one all along, where in this secret room we find the true culprit behind everything.
Fuck ass shit.
He's speaking fucking Polish, what the fuck?
Nie. To nie może być prawda.
With that being said and done, we finally covered everything I wanted to cover in the Silent Hill 2 remake. All but one small thing. The whole reason some of you clicked this video. Is Silent Hill 2 the perfect horror story? Well, if you're still here, then you should already know what my answer is. It is the perfect horror story. We've seen it all through this game. Denial, guilt, grief, and how this game manifested these emotions into disturbing physical form to force James to confront the truth. There's not a single real jump scare in this game, and yet it scares you constantly because it knows how to handle both tension and exactly when to break it. The horror in Silent Hill isn't the haunting of a ghost or demon. It's not some virus or disease run rampant, and it isn't a cold case of a rampant killer on the loose. The horror in Silent Hill comes from what's inside of us. The physical embodiment of walking through your own personal hell to confront the worst parts of your mind. There's no true end to it either. Keeping it open-ended allows the story to be what you want it to be. James can either regress mentally, never moving on, deny and hide from reality, dooming himself to repeat it all over again, choosing to end everything because he just can't keep going on alone, or he can accept his mistakes of his past and move forward to live for himself. It's open, it's haunting, it's tragic, and it's human. And that's why Silent Hill 2 is the perfect horror story. Well, it is about 2 a.m. as I write this, or rather speak this. I've been working on this video for a pretty long time, and I guess now that it's finally out, I wanted to release this back in October, specifically Halloween, but that sure as shit didn't happen considering the date it's being released on. Happy November, I guess. And if you are even at this point in the video, then that means I get to plug whatever I want without any consequences. I'll probably be releasing a Patreon exclusive video of the behind the scenes work of this. And I do intend to add more content to the Patreon, because right now there's nothing at all because I don't have people to do anything there. Secondly, I guess I'm going to plug the Twitch here because I do intend to stream most of the games that I do make videos on. Hopefully at the very least. I have a very loud house. Take a guess which game I'm going to stream next. And lastly, it is 2 a.m. as I make this video. Or rather when I record this. So if what I'm saying sounds stupid, well, I don't have a script. I'm tired as hell. And you're stupid. But I want you to leave knowing one thing, and one thing in particular. That throughout all of this madness, it was all just one bad dream. I'm Nexus, and that's the end of the video. Subscribe and tell me your favorite part in the comment section below. And that's all I've got to say. See ya.